Clark County Juvenile Court has jurisdiction over youth under 18 who violate criminal laws or are in need of protection and/or advocacy as a result of abuse, neglect, or abandonment. Recently, we spoke with Christine Simmonsmeyer, the Juvenile Court Administrator, to learn the court's philosophy and approach when dealing with youth.
Hello, I'm Jim Demo with Clark County Close-Up. Thank you very much for meeting with us.
Thank you. It's good to see you, Jim.
So tell us a little bit about the juvenile court's background. I was shocked to hear that, learn it was established in the 1900s.
Yes. The Juvenile Justice Act of 1977 is actually what governs all the juvenile courts across the state. Prior to that, the courts really had not a lot of structure, and the Justice Act really created, it mimicked the adult system to some degree as far as guilt and innocence considerations, but it's much more focused on rehabilitation, has more appropriate sentencing structures for kids, so shorter times. And yeah, that's what we've done for many years now.
Wow. So what's the role of juvenile court?
So really how, we think about ourselves as the rehabilitation or preventative system. So we're really trying to engage with kids early and quickly and trying to redirect them from the behaviors that brought them to us. Our hope is that we're able to effectuate behavior change and that they do not end up in the adult system.
Okay. Now about the adults, how are you connected to Clark County courts?
So juvenile court is a division of Superior Court. Superior Court has 3 divisions. They have civil, criminal, and family law, and we're under the family law division. We have 1 judge assigned to our dockets once a week, and then we have 2 court commissioners that also support our dockets because we run court Monday through Friday at 9 a.m.
Okay. And then what's your connection to the Juvenile Justice Center?
So the Juvenile Justice Center is our building. It's called the Robert L. Harris Juvenile Justice Center, and it comprises 1 whole city block between 11th and 12th, right across from the main courthouse. So on the 11th Street side is more the public entrance. That's where you can access probation services. 2 courtrooms are upstairs. We have the clerk's office up there also. And then over on the 12th side is the secure detention facility. So the whole building is all juvenile justice.
Okay. What are some of the main services provided by the court?
So we have a vast array of services. Probation, so when you think of juvenile court, I think of it like a funnel. So diversion is kind of our entry level. If a youth commits a low-level misdemeanor, is what we call them, offense, the first time they automatically go to diversion. They can receive subsequent opportunities for diversion after that, but the first one is definitely mandated. So if you kind of start there, diversion is really built to be a quick intervention. It's about 3 months long. It's informal, it's confidential, and if the youth successfully completes that process, then the offense is not a part of their criminal history, so it's very beneficial to them. And diversion really is focused on youth taking responsibility, and then working with the youth and parent to create kind of a contract that has some obligations for the youth to follow through with. So it's all geared towards helping them learn from what happened. On the probation side, we use an assessment on youth when they come in that measures risk, and it also measures protective factors. So there we're really looking at how do we minimize the risk factors and how do we increase the protective factors. And as part of that, the probation counselor and the youth do a lot of goal setting. And we also have 4 different evidence-based programs that are offered for free to the youth and family. And those range from family counseling, employment education, different skill building things, and really just trying to match and individualize those services for the youth. And then obviously detention. Detention is secure setting. That is for youth who are deemed by the court to be an extreme risk to the community. And we have a high level of mental health support in our detention facility. So I'll stop there because it's a lot of programming.
Sure.
But really just the takeaway is that my team is just amazing with kids. They're very committed and passionate. They're creative and work really hard to engage kids in getting on the right path. So
is there an average? I mean, how many kids are served by the court each year?
So we currently have about 300 kids involved with the court. Prior to the pandemic, it was more closer to 500.
Oh.
And we saw a significant decrease. We got into the mid 100s in the 2021 era. But since last year, we've seen just a steady increase in youth coming back to the court.
Now you've kind of talked about it a little bit, but the court's general philosophy or approach when dealing with youth, could you expand on that?
Yeah, so we have our overarching philosophy is restorative justice. Restorative justice asks you to hold the needs of the offender, the victim, and the community in a balanced approach. So that's really the lens that we use in creating all of our programming. And restorative justice thinks about crime more like harm. And when someone commits a harm against the community, they have an obligation to make amends. So that's kind of the framework. Underneath that, our approaches, a lot of the youth that come to our court have experienced higher levels of trauma than youth who don't. So we have trained all of our staff in trauma-informed care to help them have some tools and skills around working with kids who have high rates of trauma. And then we also use motivational interviewing. So all of our staff are trained on that, and it's the strategy there is that motivational interviewing is intended to create internal motivation, to help someone really embrace the need for change. We understand the juvenile court is temporary. We usually work with kids between 6 and 12 months. So we really need to maximize that time to engage the youth around behavior change in a way that they internalize.
Okay. Now, we talked about the pandemic. Have your services been altered since the pandemic?
Slightly. Really the big change for us was Zoom court. So we brought in Zoom. We use it in our courtroom and have found it's really beneficial. It helps increase parent involvement. They have to take less time off work and they can still come to court. Youth also can attend. They are required to come to their first appearance, and then they are required to come to the last sentencing phase. But we have found it to be very beneficial for our youth and families.
Okay. What are some of the concerning trends local youth are dealing with today?
I think the big one is the increase in mental health issues that youth are struggling with. We're seeing that before the pandemic, and it feels like it really came to a head. And unfortunately, the system itself is very overburdened. So it's very difficult for youth and families to access community-based services. So yeah, that's been probably the biggest concern. We've seen more gun-involved offenses as well. The data is not showing that it's a huge spike, but it just feels like there's just more guns involved, which is very concerning. And car thefts. I don't know if you've seen.
Kias,
yes.
Yes.
We have had quite a spike in that, and young kids also, which is very concerning.
And that gets with TikTok videos and
Yes.
social media. Is part of it attributed, you think, to social media?
Very influential, yes, with young people. So very concerning.
So then how are you kind of addressing some of those mental health issues?
I think on the mental health side, our court has 2 psychologists assigned, one on the detention side and one on probation. And then they also bring in mental health interns every school year. So we have kind of a team that can do anything from mental health assessments, brief intervention therapies, groups. They do a lot of system navigation and advocacy, and a lot of kind of coaching and support for parents as well.
Okay. Now, do you utilize volunteers?
We do, and we welcome them. So as I mentioned in our restorative justice philosophy, we have a program called Restorative Community Service. And so what we've done is looked at how do kids give community service hours back to the community. We have partnered with volunteer organizations, and our kids go out and work alongside the volunteers. We really want them to experience it in a way that feels meaningful, and they should have some pride in the way that they showed the community that they're repairing the harm. And in that program, we use mentors, and that's where a lot of our volunteers come from. They go out and work kind of as the team lead with the kids at the projects.
Great. If people want to learn more about juvenile court or get involved, where can they check?
So our website has good resources there. LaQuinta Daniels is our program coordinator for Restorative Community Service. She does a great job of onboarding folks and supporting them. So come join us. It's great work.
Well, thank you very much for making time with us today.
Thank you. Thank you.